Okay, so we're talking about functions. Okay, now function, as I said, it's a name that we give to a block of code, right? And there are different ways of writing functions. Okay, so if I have to, let's say, okay, let's do this. Let's write a let's write a function to generate prime numbers. Okay, so in this case, we will add. We'll define the function name. So I'm going to say generate prime or something. Okay, and this will take one variable, right? So it's like okay, okay. Instead of generating prime numbers, okay, we will first write a function, write a function to check if the number is prime or not, and use this to generate prime numbers. Okay, let's divide this into two parts. So we can actually see the actual usage of function. Why do we have to write a function? Why it is important? Okay, so let's check this. So as okay, so we'll write a, instead of saying generate, I'll say check prime. Okay, so let's say you pass a value here, right? And we will check if this value is prime or not. So we will first check, okay, we will first assume that it's a prime number, okay. Why? So see, in such cases, okay, where you have to run multiple loops, okay, see, what is the logic here? How do you know if number is prime or not? What is the definition of prime number? Number that is divisible only by one and itself. Every number is divisible one and itself. Apart from these two, they cannot have any other factors, right? Or they cannot be divisible by any other number, right? So we say 5 is a prime number because 5 is divisible only by 1 and 5, right? No other number can divide 5 perfectly. But 6 is not, because it is divisible by 2, 3, right? So what we have to do is we have to take the number, keep on multiplying that number with values from 2 to 1 minus itself, right? So if I have to check if 100 is prime number or not, I have to keep dividing it by 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 99, because 1 and 100 is anyway divisible, right? So I have to keep dividing by 2 to 99. Now, the after 2, the next divisible number, that next number that can divide is 2 itself, right? So if it is not, so there is no point of going beyond 50, is it not? Right? If it is not divisible by 50, then it cannot be divisible by any other number, 51, 52, right? Cannot be, because when you divide by something greater than half, it will be 1 point something, right? Definitely not 2 or 1. So we don't have to check up to 99, but we can check up to 50, right? That's how we can check a value. Okay, so you have this check prime, right? And this is the value that we pass. Now I just said that we were talking about that we have to start dividing it from 2 up to 50, right? So if it is not divisible by 50, definitely it will not be divisible by any other number. So if I have to check, okay, so here you see, if I assume that it is a prime, and then if I start dividing from 2 to 50, let's say if we take 100, the moment we realize that it is not divisible by any other number, we can change it to not prime and come out, stop, like, we'll put the brake to the loop, right? And but if you start with not prime, because there are multiple values for it to be prime, but only one value is required for it to be not to be prime, right? So it may not be divisible by 2, it may not be divisible by 3, 4, 5, but if it is divisible by, let's say, 7, then you need to stop it there, right? For example, 49, if you take 49 is not divisible by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is divisible by only 7, isn't it? So So we need to, we'll set this variable, okay, like is prime to true, and then we will check. So we'll say for I in range 2 comma. Now val, let's say if it is 100, if I divide it by 2, now range will only accept integer number. So we have to say double slash integer division. So if I say 100 by 2, it becomes 50, and value will be checked only up to 50. That means up to 49. But we want to check up to 50, right? So we'll say val by 2 plus 1, so that it checks the half number also. Now, if you talk about something which is odd number, right? 99. 99 by 2 is 49.5. So integer division will make it 49. 49 plus 1, 50. So we are checking up to 50. It doesn't matter if you check more, right? But we don't want to check less, isn't it? So I'm going to say here, okay, for I in range 2 comma val by 2 plus 1. Now I'm going to check, okay. So if val modulo I, so we are checking if it is divisible by 2 or 3 or 4 or so on up to 50. The moment it becomes 0, we found our answer, which is prime equal to false, correct? And then we no longer have to run the loop again. So we'll say break, right? So end of this loop, you will have value is prime as true or false. So if this thing never occurred, if the condition never occurred, then is prime will remain true, right? And if this value has occurred and it becomes false, that's when you need to, return the value as false, isn't it? Sorry, guys. So I was saying that, I think recording is on. Yeah. So I was saying that end of this for loop, you will have is prime either true or false. If it is true, that means it is a prime. And if it is false, then obviously it is not a prime, correct? So I'm going to say return is prime. Okay. Now, so this is your function, right? And when I run it, obviously, even if you make mistake here, it's not going to, give you error, because this function is not called until we call it explicitly, right? We have to call it only then it gets executed. Now, let's say I call this function. I want to check if 41 is prime or not, right? So see, this is a function which takes one parameter, right? One argument, and it returns the value, correct? So we are not doing any print here. Now, one option is, instead of saying return is prime, I could have said here if is prime, right? If is prime, then print f val is a prime number. Else print val is not a prime number, right? We could do this. So in this case, okay, with printing, we are, we are not, we are not returning any value. So if I call check prime, and let's say I pass 41, okay, see what happens. 41 is a prime number, right? Now, if I don't pass any value, right, then what happens? It gives you error. Okay, it says missing one required positional argument. It's saying that value for val argument is missing. So this is what I was talking about other day, right? Required positional argument. Required means you have to pass, no other option for you. Positional means in a way, here we have only one value, okay? So positional doesn't matter here because there is only one value. But if we had three values, okay, so let's write another program, another simple program we'll write to add, okay, so in this case, what we'll do is check if val1 is greater than val2. If val1 is greater than val2, then add them, or if val1 is greater, then we will subtract them, let's say. Otherwise, add them. Okay. So I'm writing a function def, right? This is how you start, right? My function. Okay. I'm passing val1 comma val2, right? And I'll say if val1 greater than val2, print. If val1 is greater than val2, then we say subtraction val1 minus val2, right? Okay. Else print addition, right? Val1 plus val2. Okay. So in this case, if I have to call this function, if I have to call my function, right? Okay. I need to again pass two values, right? Now, if I pass 23 and 33, val1 is less. So we expect them to add these two values, 56. And if I make this as greater, then it should subtract, right? What happened? It's hung. It should subtract and give you 10, right? Which is working fine. Now, in this case, so if I don't pass again any value, if I don't pass, let's say I use my function and I don't pass any value here. And now I call it. So you get same error, missing two required positional argument, right? Positional and required, both. Positional and required, both, right? And in this case, since we have not given to two values, so it says two required positional argument. Now let's say I give 10. If I give 10, then which variable will take the value? I can say print input values are, okay, val1 and val2, right? So in this case, you see, you get 43, 33 in this case, but okay, second case, you got error. Now it says one required argument. Why? Because we are passing 1 to val1. So val1 will get 10 and there is no value for val2. That's why we are getting missing one required positional argument. Okay, so required and positional. Now you can have opposite of required is default. So if I give a default value, then it will not ask for values. Now in this case, okay, if I give val equal to, let's say, 53, okay, what did I do? In the def line itself, in the def line, I'm saying val equal to 53. Now in this case, this becomes a default value. If I run this program, okay, so I think I have to comment out this one, right? And uncomment this. Now, in this case, you see, check prime, I'm passing 41. When I'm passing 41, it will take 41. When I don't pass anything, only then it will take default. It says, if you do not have, use 53, right? If the value is not given, use 53. If value is given, then use what is given, right? So in this case, see, you get here 41 is a prime number, 53 is a prime number, right? Because we did not give any value, but since 53 is default, it has taken default one. Okay, now coming to my function here. So what I will do, okay, here I will say val2 equal to 3, let's say, or 30, let's say. Now, if I say val2 equal to 30, now in this case, I'm passing 10, 10 will go to val1, 10 will go to val1. So val1 will be 10, right? And val2 has taken the default value 30. Val2 has taken the default value 30 because that's what we have given here. So this is how you can assign a value to a variable by passing from them. This is your main program, right? And this is the function that we are calling. Okay. So in this case, you can have any number of default values and required arguments, default arguments and required arguments, any number. But you can have any number of default arguments and required arguments. But what is but here? But the default ones has to be on the right side. I cannot make value 1 default and value 2 as required. See, if I make value, see, PyCharm is intelligence is giving you error. But let's see this. If I make value 1 default, that means we don't have to give value for value 1, right? But positional, what does positional say? Positional says that value goes from left to right. So value is going from left to right. So 43 is going to val1. If 43 is going to val1, obviously val2 will get 33. So here no problem. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it is default or not, or left, right, doesn't matter. But not take this case. If I'm saying val1 is default 10 or whatever, let's say 50 or whatever, doesn't matter. So when you give this 10, it will go to val1, not to val2. Positional. First value goes to first argument, second value go to second argument, third value will go to third argument. So because of positional, this doesn't make sense, right? Because see here, because this is mandatory required, so I have to give two values. If I'm giving two values here, what's the point of making this default? Is there any point of making this default? Absolutely no. There's no point of making this as default. Right? So your default values has to be on the right. Let's say you have 10 arguments and you have 5 default and 5 required. So first you will put all the 5 required and then you will put all the 5 default ones. Default ones are always on the right after you have done with required. So we have seen default and required. Third or fourth rather, right? Where now let's say I give an example. You have a variable, you have a function which has 10 arguments. Now, I have to remember the order of each of the argument. I have to give it in the same order, positional, right? So whatever argument comes first, the value will be the first one there. Second will be second. 10th will be 10th. So you are required to remember the variables and the order. It said, no, it's very difficult for me to remember 10. Okay. So what it says is, and this is when you do visualization or machine learning, the complex algorithms, right, where the functions will have 10, 15 arguments. Okay. It becomes easy to use positional than the order. Now, let's say you are plotting a bar graph. Okay. Bar graph takes variables like title, subtitle, X label, Y label. Okay. Now, let's say I want to give X label and Y label, but I don't want to give title and subtitle. I want to give subtitle. I want to give title. I want to give X label, but I don't want to give subtitle. Then how does it matter? How do we do that? Right. So in that case, okay, by default, there will be some blank values for title, subtitle, X level, Y level, and you can pick and choose. Okay, I want to only give titles. Okay, I will give only title. How is that possible? That is possible using what is the fourth type that we can talk about, which is your non-positional or keyword argument. Okay, so required means you have to give value. Positional means you have to give in the same order. Default means you don't have to give the value. Equal to is given when you are defining the function. Keyword means when you're calling, that time I'm going to say val2 equal to 10 and val1 equal to 20. Okay, now what happens when you run? Okay, so this is the problem, right? Your non-default argument should not be afterwards. So remember this, right? So what I will do here, I will have to make, this has default, not this one. Correct? Non-default argument follows default, right? Non-default argument cannot follow default one, right? I told you, because what's the point of making something mandatory at the end? If it is mandatory at the end, it reminds me of a joke, right? It's like one boy was started crying. People asked him, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I bought 5 idlis, and after eating fifth idli, I felt, as my hunger went away. So after eating fifth idli, my hunger went away. I should not have eaten four idlis. I should have directly taken the fifth one. Is it possible to have fifth idli without eating 1 to 4? No, right? So that's why remember this. So it has to be later. Okay. Now you see val one, okay, is 10. No, 20. So in keyword arguments, okay, you have to use exact same name. Exact same variable name. What is the variable name here? Here, val1, val2. So you have to use val1, val2 only. Now you see, I'm saying val2 equal to 10. So when I run it, okay, see, val2 is like val2 is this one, right? Val2 is 10 and val1 is 20. You don't have to give in the same order. This is called keyword arguments. Okay, so this is how you can write keyword, positional, default, required. All good so far, guys? Any doubt here? One more important concept. One more important concept, and then there are some smaller concepts that we'll talk about. Okay, called variable length arguments. Okay, now I want to add. Okay, I want to say write a function to add all the given numbers. Let's say. Now, when you say all the given numbers, how many numbers? We don't know, right? So when we don't know how many numbers, what shall we do? It says, okay, def add all numbers. Okay. And here you declare a variable called values, let's say. I'm declaring values. Now, when I declare values, okay, that means it has only one variable, isn't it? Right? So if I pass, let's say, I pass one values here, one value. If I pass one value, then what happens? So let me print it here. Print values passed are, and I say values. Okay. Now I'm saying add all the values. Okay. So here I'll just write the function name so that we know which function, right? We have so many outputs, so we'll get confused which is printing what. So I'm saying here, add all values 5. Now, when I say 5, you get value passed is 5 normally. But I'm saying I want to add 5, 6, 10, 12, 15. Now what happens? Okay. Value takes only one position argument, but 5 were given. Right? It has only one variable. Okay. But you gave 5. In this case, this is where it is useful to use what is called as variable length argument. You add star here. Okay. Star against the argument makes it take values as a list. So now when I run it, okay, see, sorry, not list, tuple, my mistake. So you see, it has read it like a tuple, simple bracket. Values took all the values that you gave. It can be blank also. It can be a blank tuple. It can be 0, 5, 10, 15, whatever. So when you pass these values, it has read it like a tuple. You have to give star only at the time of argument, right? At this place only. You don't have to do anything here inside the function. Only in the beginning you have to give, not inside. Okay. Now, so if you use single star, it is to read the value as a tuple. You can give double star. Okay. Then it takes values as a dictionary. So so how do we call? Okay, let's say I give values here, and now I'm giving star star data. Let's say I call it a data. So now I will say here values are okay, and I will say here data. Data values are values are. Let's say. Okay, here we are not giving dictionary value, so it is blank. Okay. Oh, sorry, we should not give here double star. Okay, only here, not here, inside, not at time of using. So now when you run it, see you get empty dictionary here. Okay, it's ready to read values as dictionary, and you can give any values. Now I can say here name equal to Sachin. Okay, the keywords. So keywords are read like dictionaries, and normal values are read like your tuples. I say name equal to Sachin, game equal to cricket. Okay, runs equal to 50,000. Right? So now when you run this, see it has read the data as a dictionary. Now it is up to you how you want to use inside the function, right? We have done all those functions of dictionaries and tuple. You can use them the way you want to use them. Right? But this is how function will help you to take different values. Right? So we have seen how to use function. Okay, these are the important properties, but there are some more small properties that we have to talk about. Okay, so the first thing was why it is not a good idea to print. It is always a good idea to return the value, not print it. Because when you do the print, then that means you have kind of fixed the purpose of the function. You have fixed the purpose of the function. Okay, I cannot reuse this function. Functions are created so that you reuse it maximum number of times. The purpose of writing function is that you should be able to reuse the function. Now let's say this is not the way I want to print. I want to print in different way. Or let's say I want to use this for some other purpose. I will reuse the same function to generate prime numbers. Okay, so then this is not what we want, right? So instead what you should do, you should not, okay, so what I'll do is, okay, we will put this in a comment. Okay, and we will uncomment this. Okay, so what's the advantage of using is prime? Advantage of using is prime is, now obviously this all output will not come here, right? You have to say here res or something, right? Check prime, res, check prime, right? And then you print here, right? Now the purpose of using this is, now I can use the same function, generate prime numbers between, let's say, 10,000 to 15,000. I want to generate prime numbers between 10,000 and 15,000. Okay. So what I will do, I will write a for loop for num in range 10,000. This is 10,000, right? Comma 15,000, right? Or 15,001 to be like logically correct. We want 15,000, so we'll include 15,000, right? Okay. For num in range. Now we will take this range and then we will pass it to that prime. So if, okay, now let's first do this. Res equal to check prime and we'll pass num. Right? Now, if res, that means if it is positive, then print num. That means if it is true, then you print it, otherwise you don't print it. And we will print them all in same line. So we'll say end equal to comma. Right? That's it. So, and of course, when you are done with the loop, you will put not break. Okay, break will continue. We will put this. So once you are done completely checking all the value, then we'll give a next line. So that cursor comes to next line. So what am I doing? I'm generating values 10,000 to 15,000 and one by one I'm passing to check prime. So check prime is taking 10,000, checking if 10,000 is prime number or not. If it is yes, then it prints. If it is no, then we don't print it. So now see, same function can be used to check if a number is prime or not here, and same can be used to generate prime numbers, isn't it? So when you run it, so see, these are your prime numbers between 10,000 and 15,000. It's so fast. 10,007 is prime, 10,009 is prime, 37, 39. All these are your prime numbers between 10,000 and 15,000. 14,983 is the prime number. You can check. Right? That's why we should prefer writing return than, doing print. Because if I'm using print, I can write print here itself, right? And you don't know, what way or, which language, how do you want to print it? We don't know, right? So better you do only the core logic and leave the main logic or the display or how do you want to use it to the program itself. Okay. One more concept here is that each function has something called as doc string, document string. Okay. So there's a function called help. Okay. So when you say print, okay, help is a function and okay, you pass some value. So I want to know what does input function do. So you say help of input. Okay, you run it. Okay, so this is the help of input. Read a string from standard input. So the documentation of each function is written within the function. Documentation of what is, why it is used, how it is written within the function, and you can do it in two ways. One, you say help of function name you give, it'll give you the text, or you can simply say print input. Okay, let's put some line here so that we know it doesn't get confused with other input. Okay, and we'll do it something like this here. We'll do something like this here. Okay, print input dot. Okay, dot d underscore underscore doc underscore underscore underscore. First thing you understand. Whenever you see, the moment you see underscore underscore something underscore underscore, double underscore on either side, it means it is a inbuilt function variable or something which has a predefined meaning. So when you create your own variable or function, do not put double underscore at the end. You can do it before, but don't do it at the end, because it gives a meaning, that there's something predefined. Now if you define something and when you write, let's say I used underscore underscore ABC underscore underscore equal to 10. Okay, program will work fine. Program will not have any problem. But when somebody else is reading the program, they'll say, oh, underscore underscore ABC underscore underscore. They'll start Googling out what does ABC mean? Because when you see this, it gives a meaning that there's a predefined meaning associated with it. Okay. Okay. So this is how when you do this, right? There's something called as coding standard. Okay. So coding standards are used to make program maintenance of code easier. So, okay, so do not use double underscore ABC and double underscore. Okay, do not use that. This will work fine. Okay, Python will not have any problem. I can say equal to 100, right? And it will work, but do not use it. Okay, because this double underscore, both either side of the variable or function is written generally for predefined meaning, written for predefined meaning. Understood? Okay. So what is the predefined meaning of DOC? Predefined meaning of DOC is to give you this document string. Okay. And same as what you get for help, right? It's same as help. Okay. So same thing is given by your this one. Okay. Input DOC. Same thing. Now, how do we write it? Okay. So as I told you, it is written within the function. So it is first multi-line comment. First multi-line comment. The moment I put double triple quote and hit enter, PyCharm is clever. So PyCharm added these texts. Okay. But don't worry about it. You can always delete it and edit it. Okay. So your doc string are the multi-line comment immediately after colon. So here also I've added a multi-line comment here, right? This is not docstring. For it to be docstring, it has to be right immediately after colon. So here I can say this is a user defined function which takes a value as input and checks if it's a prime or not. Right? And you can say written by Sachin Kohli, whatever. Whatever you want to write, you can write here. So now I can call check prime here, right? And I will say print in check prime, right? Check prime, no bracket, dot doc underscore underscore doc underscore underscore. Now when you run it, see exactly what we gave there. This is the multi-line comment that is given immediately after. It has to be multi-line comment, no hash. Hash will not work as document string. It triple quote, whether you give single or triple, double doesn't matter, but it has to be triple quote. Okay, single triple quote or double triple quote immediately after colon is your multi-line comment, and this is how you can read them. All good? Okay. Okay. So this is what I wanted to cover as part of functions. Now, your task is to convert whatever code you have written, all the functions that you have written, use function. So, okay, thanks to Satvik, we have shared those programs, right? I want you to convert all those programs into functions. And later we will, when we learn, I'm hoping to complete a class and objects by Sunday. Once we complete class and objects, okay, you should be writing class and objects also using all your programs in class and object, because that's the actual way of doing program. What we are doing so far is just learning bits and pieces. Okay, actual programs are not done like that. We have to use class and objects. Okay, we will learn. Okay, Saturday, Sunday. My objective is to teach you class and objects. With that, we'll complete our main core program, Python. Okay, so until class and objects, it's called core Python. All right. Okay. One more concept before we go, small concept, is called module. Remember, we use random and time. And what did we say? We say that these are just a file which has functions in them. So this is also a file, isn't it? Prog1 is also a file and it has functions in them. So can we call this as module? Yes, we can call this as module. So now, since I have written, let's say I have written some five functions and I give a file. Let's say this file is written by me and I pass this file to you. Say, okay, guys, take this file and use it. So you will take this file and what you will say, okay, I'm going to use your function. So you'll say import. What is the module name? Module name is the file name. So what is the file name? Prog1. So you just use prog1. You don't have to say .py. Don't use py. Say import prog1. Python is clever. It know, oh, you said import. That means I have to go and look for Python prog1.py. It will go and look for prog1.py and it will attach it to your, okay, to your file, which is py18 in our case, right? This is py18. So it will attach prog1 to py18. Now when I say prog1 dot all these functions, see check prime, my function, add all nums, these are three functions, right? And rest and num, these are two variables that we have used. These two variables, that's why it says v here. V indicates variable, f indicates function. So say these are the three functions which are available to you. But see the problem here. When I say import prog1 and I run py18, what happens? Got stuck. I think got stuck. Just wait a second. So see, I'm running py18. But what happened? It is same as like running prog1. So when you say prog1, import prog1, okay, it executes prog1, right? That's why it gets attached, right? If I don't run it, if I don't know, if I tell you, okay, use this uh, laptop to do your presentation. Now, if I give you my laptop to do the presentation, it you know, right? Okay, which kind of laptop it is, what kind of keys, where is function key, where is that key, this key, right? You need to understand it, isn't it? So when I attach prog1, it executes prog1. And what happens? All the work that I have done here, okay, so you want only function. You don't want all these. Okay, all these we done as part of prog1 is fine, but you don't want all these. So what we are saying, we have to say is, I'm using prog1, but when I'm using prog1, I should not be should not be getting all the things which are run in the main. Okay, so there is an option where you can avoid person running the main. How? We have something called as name. Okay, so name means, okay, name means who is running your program. Okay, who is running your program. Now if I say, if I'm, okay, so see, you have underscore name, right? So when I said that, right, when you see something double underscore before and after, that means it has a predefined meaning. So what is the predefined meaning of name? doc, we know it is document string. Name means which file is calling, so what I will do here, okay, I'm going to prog1 and okay, all these things I have written in main, right? Where from here, from line number 52 I've written in main. So I'm going to say, if the function which is calling this is main, if, okay, name equal to underscore main. Okay, main means current file is running, current file or current is running, then name equal to main. So now you move everything inside this if. What it means, if I run prog1, then name is main. Okay, this file itself is main. So see, all of this has run. Now if I go to py18, now if I run py18, what happens? In py18, main is py18. py18 is main, not prog1. So see, now prog1 content is not called. So You can write your functions outside, but all the logic you should write in name equal to main. So name equal to main, the content that is there here will be called. Now, if I say else I'll just give one line print. Generally, we don't give, okay? But let's say I give here. Thanks for using my program. Now, when I run it, so see, when I run py18, right? When you run py18, main is py18, not prog1. So the if part is not called, else part is called. But if I run prog1, okay, the main if is called, the main is called. Okay, so this is how you declare a module. Module is simply a file which has functions. That's it. Okay, you can import it in different file and you now have access to all the functions. Now, function that I have written, I can use it here. But if I have to use in different file, I cannot use it without importing, right? So that's why we import. So modules will have files, okay, functions and classes. Classes is the next topic that we will do on Saturday. Any questions here?